Do not ask for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee. It is the witching hour. Hey, Tubies. It's Lord Bob Hickman here. Welcome to Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It is the witching hour. And I tell you, we got Lady Angela here with us tonight, and we are just so excited to be here with you guys. You know, Lady Angela, I can't see our chat. We got some people coming in there.
Oh, we sure do. We got Laura M. We got Witchy Jim. We got Yeti Heart 52. Angela Locke's with us. Susan Cologne. Joe Reviews. Mama Bird's here. Tim Gallagher. Melanie Miller. And, of course, Gav is here with us tonight. Hi, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Well, I'm trying to get my computer going here, so hold on. I'm going to get my chat going.
Well, we got Paul Croft here. We got Jennifer Croxton, Julie Morton, Audrey Salazar. We got a lot of familiar names, Bob, and a few new ones, too. Debbie Webby made it tonight, too. Awesome. Lotus Night Rain's here, too. We got a lot of Purple Cord people in the chat as well.
Oh, I'm loving it. I am loving it. Well, you know, welcome to all of you tonight. We're so happy that you're here. And, you know, I tell you, whenever we gather, it's like the gathering of the tribes, isn't it, Lady Angela?
Absolutely. We could always feel the energy, and we're always excited for our new shows every week with you all. Thank you all for joining us and keeping this going. We really love you, and we love taking part in this and interacting with you all, too, from all over the world, huh, Bob?
All over the world. You know, Gavin's here from London, England. It's like 1 a.m. in London right now. Gavin, you're a brave soul to stay up and join a bunch of crazies like us. Yeah,
well, that's true.
Oh my gosh, Armani's here tonight, and so is investigative journalist. So we got a good crew going on here.
Oh yeah.
All right, well, welcome, and hi Debbie Webby, hi Raven Fisher, hi Susan. So many wonderful people. Well, I tell you, you know, it's been a crazy week in my world. Psychic Bob's been working on his phone network, you know, because I'm trying to be able to get up things running so I can receive your calls. A lot of you have been trying to reach me for private reading, and you know, Lady Angela, I got that new phone number going, don't I?
Yes, you do. What's that number again, Bob?
Oh, let's see if I can memorize. I tried to memorize it this week. 703-825-3929. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did. And how else can they reach you, Bob?
Yeah, and they can also reach me through my website at psychicbob.com and that's spelled PSYCHICBOB.com. And you can reach me through email. If you're having trouble with the phones, reach me through email, readings@robert-hickman.com. All those links will be below. So I really welcome you all. You know, it's getting really busy as we get into Halloween season. But if you want to get on schedule, we'll get you in, won't we, Lady Angela?
Absolutely. So, Bob, what are we going to talk about tonight?
Well, you know, I thought we would talk about all things mystical. You know, sometimes it's fun just to see what the spirit has. And, you know, this week as I've been working on my home, I've been finding a lot of little treasures here. I've been finding some beautiful crystals and gemstones. And you know, Lady Ange, I tell you, it's been an adventure. In fact, I got to tell you before we get in this is a funny story from this week. Well, as some of you may know, I have a little pet mouse that's come into my house. His little tiny thing named Squashy. And he's become my pet. I feed him, and he comes and sits with me every day. Well, Squashy, as I've been moving furniture, I found a nest that he had made. Now, let me tell you, this mouse has high style because he made the nest out of one of my Givenchy silk scarves. So he took my scarf, made a nest, and guess what was in his nest, Lady Angela?
Well, what'd you find, Bob?
Well, I'm telling you, this mouse is a pagan. I've got the best pet. He's a pagan mouse because look what he dragged into his nest. Y'all can see this. This is a little miniature Thor statue that I have.
Aww.
And he had this right curled up in his nest inside that silk kerchief that he was wrapped up in. So he dragged this. I had this in a low level box. It was sitting down on the floor. And I guess he got in the box because he tore up some paper. And he dragged it over into his nest and had Thor with him. Now, I tell you, that's a good sign. Any mouse that likes Thor is a good mouse. I'm keeping him in the house.
That's so funny. I have a couple Thor dolls, too. I have this one here who has lightning coming down from his hammer. I'm crazy about Thor. He's one of my favorite gods and also one of my favorite actors. But here's another Thor as well. I'm just crazy about Thor. Bob, can you tell us anything about Thor? What's he represent?
Well, Thor is the Norse god. He comes from the Norse pantheon, which when we say Norse, it's multiple areas. It's not just Norway. It's Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Finland. These areas all had a similar pagan tradition. And Thor was in that tradition called the god of lightning and thunder. Now, it's very interesting. We talk about cultures clashing. As you know, Lady Angela, during the times of the Roman Empire went all over the world. And when they started getting up into northern Germanic countries and up into Scandinavia, they discovered Thor. And many of the ancient, explorers from Rome said that Thor was the equivalent of Zeus because the Roman god Zeus was the god of lightning and thunder. The Romans were very accepting of other religions. A lot of people don't know that. They allowed people to keep their gods and they integrated their gods. And they said that Thor was a relation to Zeus or that he was a form of Zeus. And I think that's so interesting. So Thor is the god of lightning and thunder. He's a sky god. He's a protector. A lot of people say they love Thor. He's the god of the common man, the everyday guy who just needs a little help from the spirit world. Thor's your man, And so I love Thor too. And I was so thrilled to find my little Thor in my little squashy mouse nest.
Aw, it's so sweet.
You see, now you'll notice here he has his lightning coming out of his hammer. Thor carries a big hammer, and when he smashes that hammer, lightning and thunder come. Lady Angela, I think yours shows the lightning better. It's a little different.
Yeah, it sure does. I just love it. It's streaming down from the hammer, and it's just amazing. I really love it. And someone's comment passed by a second ago, and I have to agree, Thor is also extremely hot. See, our purple core people got great taste.
There you go. Well, I'm a big fan of Thor, And
well, Bob, I have some treasures to show. I went to my favorite rock store here in town.
Oh, yeah.
I blew some money there, but I got some treasures I couldn't resist.
All right.
So first, I got 3 amazing hunks of amber that are huge with lots of bugs in them, which is awesome.
Oh.
Here's the first hunk, and it's just glorious. Which amber is like a petrified tree sap, and it was favored by Egyptians especially, but all throughout history of making jewelry and amulets. It's easy to carve into, and even making incenses and powders. This one I especially love because the backside, you can still see the tree bark where they scraped it right off of the tree. It's amazing.
Oh, that's
and these were very reasonably priced, and I just could not resist, especially with all the bits of bugs in them. I just am. This one, if you get real close with a magnifying glass, you can see the legs.
Oh, God.
Which is amazing.
There's spiders in there.
And I got this stone I saw a couple weeks ago when I was in there. It's an agate.
Oh, my God.
It's heavy. And I saw it and I couldn't stop thinking about it. But I didn't get it that time, but I did get it this time. What stands out to me is right here, I see a bird. I see the bird's wings and the beak, and it's kind of getting a nibble of whatever this is. These are like the wings and the tail, and then the little pointed beak is right here. And I am just wild about it. I am crazy about it. And they had another piece of labradorite that told me it had to be mine.
Uh-oh, and I know you
got this hunk of labradorite.
God.
The backside is raw, which I like. And you'll remember about a month or so ago, I got this piece in there. And then I fell in love with this one. I just love when she has new items in her store. Then she had a display of these beautiful quartz, and they have these bits of this blue crystal at their ends. I forget what it was called, but she had a book there, and I looked it up, and it had to do with psychic development and channeling. And this quartz, it has a blue tone all throughout it. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but I just saw them, and I fell in love with it. It is amazing.
Ooh.
Do you see the blue? It's so pretty.
Yes. Is that the celestite sort of quartz?
Nope, this one's just regular quartz, but she had a whole new display of celestite, which is why I went in there.
Oh.
It's one of my favorites. I got several hunks like this. And celestite is good for channeling angels, and it creates a white protective barrier around any area it's at. And then I only needed one of these, but I got two because I love them so much. They're polished celestite wands
Oh
with
my
rounded
God.
ends. Some good little boy might get one of these for Christmas.
Ooh, I'm being very good.
Right? They're amazing. And when you hold them, they're see how they glow?
They
They're
glow. They're luminous.
I love it. And the final piece I'll show you is now a couple weeks ago I got a piece of calcite like this that I love. This is kind of like a yellow tone. Well, this one, when I reached down to get this one was peeking from the back corner. And it's green, like the color of money. It's green calcite. And it was just perfect to sit on my prosperity altar. And it's really like slick. It's kind of a rough stone, but it's slick. And it's green calcite. And I just absolutely am crazy about it. So I had some fun in the rock shop.
You racked up some rocks.
Right? Right? I'm happy with
some rocks. Isn't that what the crack addicts used to say? I scored some rocks. You scored some rocks, the good rocks. Those are beautiful. Well, you know, it's so funny you're showing these amazing stones because as I have been decluttering my house, I just found some beautiful opalite stones that were a gift from a special somebody. And I'll say that special somebody's called Lady Angela. And it's hard. Let me see if I can show these. I've got like 13 of them, a whole handful of them. These are my beautiful witch flames. They're 13 in number, and they have various pagan symbols on them, and they glow. It's hard to show on camera here, but they have a luminosity to them, similar to your celestites. And this, for example, has the sun. Now, Lady Angela made these runes, and they're engraved. She actually engraved so the images won't come off. And they're done in gold, engraved and then painted in gold. Took a lot of work to make these, but they are gorgeous. And it's hard, again, I wish I had showed up better on camera. But Lady Angela, I think you're still selling these at your site, aren't you?
Yeah, I may have another set on there, but I could always take special request orders. You know, if someone would like some of those, just contact me through my website and I can certainly make you a set. I have some other ones listed on my website out of other stones, but those opal ones were kind of stuff that I made special for Bob. But take a peek on my website, just type in rune or runes, and you'll see a big variety of them. I have some in bloodstone, I have some in wood, and a lot of different things. Those ones were special for Bob, but if you want a set, I'm sure we can work something out.
Well, I'm crazy about them. And I'm so happy to have them back because I mislaid them and now I found them. This one has a triquetra on it. And maybe if I rotate, you can kind of get a little bit of sense of the color. They have a blue.
They're glowing.
They're literally glowing and they're just magical. Isn't that gorgeous? So these are something I would recommend you explore as well because not only do I have beautiful gemstones, I have a wonderful magical tool. And yeah, real simple Earth Jada said she loves these. Yeah. And Laura M said they're all beautiful.
Mama Bird asks, where's Lady Carol and Lord Tony?
Well, they're both not feeling well tonight. You know, I guess the change of the weather has everybody out of sorts. And, you know, it's been a little hard on everybody. I thought I was losing my voice earlier in the week. It's back. But yeah, so it's going to be Lady Angela and I tonight. I forgot to tell at the beginning.
Michelle Rose asks, what's my website? Go to rarewiccaspells.com. I forgot to say that. I'm sorry. So rarewiccaspells.com. And the link is in the box below this video. And when you go to check out, you can use coupon code Spirit Channel to save 10%. And also, you know, maybe you want to make your own set of runes. I have a big variety of polished stones that are just right. If you wanted to get some of those, maybe save a little bit of money, buy them by the pound. You could even make your own out of a big variety of stones. So check those out too.
Absolutely. I think we'll probably later on do a whole show about runes and show all different types of runes and how they work.
Great idea.
Really good. Well, tonight we won't do it because I don't have everything here, but we'll do that in a future show. You know, as we get into October, we're almost into October. That veil between the world is getting thin. You know, and you know, it's really a time to start exploring things like divination, like runes, tarot, spirit communication. And you know, if you go to Lady Angela's site, what's that?
And psychic readings too,
And
Bob.
psychic
Your powers
readings,
are at their best now too. I mean,
all of that. Absolutely. You know, and it's a great time to delve in, learn about your journey, learn about your past. You know, Lady Angela carries so many books and tools that will get you started on your journey. And I'm here as a psychic consultant to help you. And you know, we can really all work together to advance. You know, the order of the purple cord, and Lady Angela, you have to agree with me on this, I think, is that we really all help each other to advance, don't we?
absolutely. It's a happy place. We encourage each other. We share things with each other. It's more like a family, you know. It's very personable and happy, but without all the drama. We don't do drama.
We don't do drama. No, we
Right.
don't.
If you want to be a member or find out more information about the Order of the Purple Cord, you could either go to Bob's website, psychicbob.com. He has a lot of information there. Or also go to our Facebook page, type in Order of the Purple Cord. It'll get you to where you need to be, and you can contact us right through there, and we'll get you signed up and all set up. Bob, Raven Fisher has a great question. They ask us to speak about animal connections. They have been seeing hawks everywhere.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, hawks are powerful protector birds, and you know, um, whenever you see, well, let me just say in general, whenever you see an animal repeatedly, it is the message to you. And the spirit world always sends us signs and symbols that we can relate to, you know. Now, I always say that a hawk is a protector, like a falcon is a protector. But also, you know, I have to say, let me put a caveat on that. You may have a different meaning for the hawk. And if your hawk meaning is different than mine, that's okay. Go with what you know. Maybe a hawk for you means new job, or a hawk means prosperity. You know, it can mean different things, but you have to define what that language is for yourself, you know. And but I traditionally would say that the hawk is a sign of protection. It's also a sign that you're going to get the bigger picture, because hawks tend to circle an area. They look over the whole thing. And I think for you, that might even be a message like, step back from the situation, know that you're protected, don't act impulsively, and watch everything in motion that's below you. Like, think of the hawk that takes a bird's eye view. It could be also a message to get further back and look at things objectively. What do you think, Lady Angela?
I very much agree with that. Jennifer Croxton asks, are we planning a Samhain ritual for us here? We are definitely, we don't have nothing ironed out yet, but we want it to be a big major thing, and we want it to be epic. So we are trying to cook something up for you guys. It may not be on the actual day of Samhain, maybe a little bit sooner, which would be nice, because then you could even follow along with the ritual on the actual day of Samhain. So yeah, we are talking about it. We're kicking it around, and we're wanting to get something together that'll be awesome. So
Absolutely. Yeah, we want to make it a big event, you know, and we're excited. Lady Angela, I got to show you, speaking of crystals, also one of my favorite crystals that I thought I lost last week had a heart attack, because I'm literally ripping apart my house. I keep losing stuff. I've shown you guys this before. This
I
is one of my,
love that one.
this is a Lemurian crystal that I got, and I'm just crazy about this stone. I wanted to bring here and show it to you guys. Isn't that just beautiful?
Yeah, I
So
love that one.
this is one of my treasured gems, you know. And I have a giant Lemurian crystal, but I can't carry it because it's in my back room right now. And it weighs like 100 pounds. I
I
have a,
think one of these would fit in with your big crystals, Bob, laying next to all your cut glass.
oh, I think it would. I do. I think it would.
Good thing
I'm
you're a
being a
good
really
boy.
good boy. My stocking was warm, I think.
I thought it would fit your minimalist and your flashy, what you're going for.
Absolutely. I think it will work. Well, you know, one of the things, it's so much fun, you know, and I have to tell you, I know this isn't a show about minimalism, but I got to give a plug for the whole minimalist concept, because minimalism is really changing my life. As I open up my home and I get more space, I'm allowing things to come into my life that are opening my mind. It's funny, all these shows I've been watching, they always say, once you get your house in order, your mind becomes clearer. And I think that's true, because I think the last few years, as I've been doing so much work, I've let things slide. And now I'm like finding myself surrounded by boxes and piles. And I'm like, you know what? I'm done with the clutter. And one of the things that came to me during this time is, you know, we're talking about stones here, Lady Angela. I have a beautiful piece of jade. Isn't that wonderful? It's a
Oh,
jade
wow.
frog. You
Oh,
guys,
that's for good luck and prosperity, isn't it, Bob?
absolutely. So when I uncovered this as I was decluttering, I said, now there's a message from the spirit. So it's to me a sign that I'm being guided towards prosperity and new beginnings. And as I researched the frog, because I've always loved frogs, I found out that they not only are signs of good luck, they represent the shedding of an old life and the beginning of a new. And frogs, interestingly, are considered to be totems to mediums because it's believed that the frogs represent transition between the worlds. Like they come from the water, they go to the earth, they go back to the water. So people who work in spirit work, the frog might be, if you're interested in spirit work, the frog might be a totem you want to bring into your life. And it got me, going back to remember the great goddess. And in ancient Egypt, they had a mother goddess who was a frog, Heket, Heket. And so as I was researching Heket, because I feel her presence in my life, it said that she also escorts souls between the worlds.
That
And
reminds me of Hecate. Is there any relation?
well, let me tell you, this is the amazing thing. It's believed that the Greek goddess Hecate actually is the Roman and Greco-Roman version of
Ah,
the Egyptian god Hecate.
that makes
They're
sense.
believed to be connected. Isn't that interesting?
That's very interesting.
Mhm. So, anyways, I had to show you this because we're talking about crystals. As I said, a jade frog. There's so much, you
You
know.
know, Bob, on my website, if they go there and they type in the search box at rarewiccaspells.com, they type in frog. I have several small little statues out of resin and stuff of frogs. And I
Oh,
even have some that are similar, which is like the dragon with the turtle, which
oh,
is also along the same lines. It's a wealth and prosperity symbol. You could type in money on the search and you could find a lot of different totems like that. So you could get a frog like Bob has, not out of jade, but some different ones. That's a real treasure Bob has.
well, I was so excited. I bought this years ago from a store. Actually, it was online, but it was in Japan, and it was like some store that was selling jade, antique jade. It's old. It was an old piece, but get solid jade that big and carved. It's kind of rare. I love it. So, right now, the reason I'm talking about all this is, as we're entering in October, this is a time of transformation, a time to learn to be between the worlds. And some of you here tonight, I know the spirit world has been calling to you, and you're a little scared. You're saying, I don't know about spirits. Listen, the spirit world and the earth world are so close. The church I used to go to when I was a spiritualist was called the Church of Two Worlds. And
Uh,
they say there's the earth world and there's the spirit world. And many of their books, they had like book plate in the front, that like when the books belong in the church. And the book plate showed two like globes merging together.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I wish I had to find, I know I have a book around here that shows that. But that's where we are. We're at a time where we get to walk between the worlds. I can feel that veil thinning. I do. Do you feel it thinning, Lady
Oh,
A?
I do as well. Bob, we got a few great questions that just passed by.
Oh yeah, do
Um,
tell.
John C. Flaherty Jr. says, great ritual magnification on railroad tracks. And I have to agree with you, John, on that. I don't necessarily do ritual on the railroad tracks, but I know you guys have heard the train go back and forth right by my house in some videos. I can draw energy from the train just passing and coming and going. So absolutely, certain things like that, like railroad tracks, will amplify rituals. Gav asks a great question for you, Bob. What
Yeah.
is the main power of Lemurian crystals?
Oh well, you got me on a good subject. I could
Right.
talk for 6 hours, but I'll be brief. Lemurian crystals help us access time and space. They help us to connect into Lemurian energy. The Lemurians were very psychic people. And these Lemurian crystals, it's hard to see here, they have little ridges down each side. They're like a ladder, step down ladder ridges. And these are believed to be encoded memories of that ancient time. And so when we run our hands through that during meditation, it triggers memories and opens up past life memories as well as encoded energy. Some of you may say, well, I don't remember if I've ever had a past life, but using a Lemurian crystal will help you even if you haven't been there, it'll help you to see it and to know more about it. So these are it was believed that these were planted on the earth by the Lemurians so that the memory of their knowledge would not be forgotten. And what's interesting about Lemurian crystals is they don't generally come out of caves. They're not mined in the sense like most crystals are. A lot of them are just found on beaches. They just come up out of the sand because it's believed that the ancient Lemurians planted them. They're particularly predominant in the western part of the United States because Lemuria butted up against it. But many people find them just buried in the sand. So
Gosh, I wish I could find some of them in the sand. That's amazing.
I'm telling you, I do too. But that's the purpose of Lemurian. They raise the energy, they connect you to the past and help you to have visions for the future.
That is awesome. There was a question that came by Kidders, the Guardian of Humanity. I didn't quite understand it, but maybe you will, Bob. They asked, what do you feel like in your outer verse? Like when you keep yourself calm and stay off of an engagement and rest. I'm not quite clear on that. I don't
Well,
understand.
I think what they're talking about is your inner self, is your soul self. Your outer verse is how you relate to the material world.
Oh.
And I think this is very important that we have a balance between the body, the mind, and the spirit. The body is the outer verse, the universe around the physical. The mind is that bridge between the inner self and the outer world. And I think that then that leads us into the spirit self, which is the inner world. And I think that honoring the body is essential to balance the other two. And I was saying to somebody the other day, I said, we're body, mind, and spirit. If we take out any one of that triad of self, we're injured by that. We're less than we can be. So think of a triangle, body, each point, body, mind, and spirit. And that's what creates our reality. And if we deplete this, we're hurt. This is why, for example, in communist China, I have a real issue with them because they try to force atheism on everybody. Now, China will say today, oh, we have freedom of religion. But if you study the history of communism there, they've done a lot of brutal suppression of spirituality. And so that's my big beef with China. And, they're trying to tell people in China, and they still do this. You can research, I'm not making this up. They'll tell the Chinese people, well, if you want to be intelligent, you need to renounce religion. If you want to advance in life, you must renounce religion and all faith. And if you join the Communist Party, which will give you advancement in society in their country, then you have to take an oath to renounce all spiritual beliefs. What they're doing is they're breaking down that triad of each person's self. And so they're hurting people by that. Anyways, I went on a tangent, but that's my interpretation of the outer verse and why it's important to balance it.
I figured you know. Oh, I'm echoing on yours, Bob.
What's that? I couldn't hear you.
I'm echoing on yours.
I don't hear you. You sound fine.
Huh.
Okay. Armani Valesa says, how do you get rid of panic disorder? Well, Armani, I think that panic disorder sometimes also goes back to what we're talking about, the imbalance of the body, the mind, and the spirit. I think we can do things that offset our nervous system. For example, if we do drugs, that will mess with our nervous system. And so that will induce a panic disorder. If we don't sleep enough, because we stay up partying all night, that will induce panic disorder. And I also think there's a biochemical element that some people have it as a genetic thing. I used to have an anxiety disorder several years ago, and I learned to handle it through behavioral therapy. I could take medicine for it if I want, but I don't have it that severe anymore because I've mastered it through behavioral therapy. Every person's different, but I think that how you honor your body and your mind and your spirit have a big factor in it.
That's a great answer, Bob. Investigative journalist asks, is it true that there's no religion in the spirit world?
Yes. Well, let me tell you, the religion there is called the religion of love. Everything when you go there is about how have you loved? How do you love? How will you love your fellow person there? So they don't get into, now let me just clarify. If you have a religion that you love on earth, there will be places there to practice. If you love Buddhist meditation and sitting in a Zen temple, You can do that in the spirit world. But the difference is over there, there's no sectarian view. It's not like, oh, we're Methodist, you're Buddhist, you're Wiccan. People can practice their relation because, like, for example, when I go to the spirit world, I'm definitely going to still be a Wiccan, you know, because the way I relate to the higher self and the higher powers has a Wiccan element. So that will still be with me. But the difference will be that I won't say, oh, I'm Wiccan and I can't talk to you because you're Buddhist. You know, there's none of that sectarianism. The religion of love is what predominates.
That's a great answer. Kimmy D asked a question expanding on the answer you had given to Armani. Kimmy asks, what if you have a serious health issue and you have to take some drugs?
I'm sorry, what was that again? I was reading something.
It's in regards to Armani had asked about connecting with the spirit world and stuff, and or anxiety disorders. And Kimmy D asked, what if you have serious health issues and you have to take some drugs?
Well, then you should because your doctor is trying to help you. But one of the things I would say in regards to, look, I'm getting some feedback here. Let's see if I lower my volume. One of the things that I would say in regards to that is, you know, always get a second opinion, because I have actually seen doctors put people on medicine that actually makes them worse than when they didn't take the medicine.
Right.
So I think a second opinion is always valuable.
That's a good point, Bob.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Shadowlander has a song out. That's great. And he shared a link to listen to his new song he's been working on.
Wonderful. We'll have to listen. Thank you for telling us about that. Yeah. You know, somebody just wrote, Loving Life says, this is so interesting, really opens our perspective, you know. And I think, you know, one of the things that I like about the Wiccan path is that we're allowed to be open-minded. One of the things I think that is so liberating for many people that come to the craft is that we don't enforce dogma and doctrine. We don't say, you have to believe this way or you're a heretic and you'll go to hell. We don't believe. We say, each find your path, harm none. See, this is the Wiccan read is
absolutely
harm none, do as ye will.
Yep. Okay. Real Simple Earth Jada says that you're giving great feedback tonight, Bob, as always. And Tony, Lord Tony's in the chat.
Hey, Lord Tony, I'm sorry you're feeling badly tonight. I'm glad you're here. Yay. Poor Lord Tony. Sounded like he didn't have a voice when he called me.
Oh, no. I hope he didn't get what I had after he helped me to heal. I'm sorry, Tony.
I hope not.
Is that a new hat, Bob?
What's that?
Is that a new hat?
No, it's just been crisped up. I cleaned it, dusted it, and polished it up a little bit.
Oh, it looks great.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I enjoy my witch hats. You should see the looks I get when I go to CVS in it. Of course, now it's Halloween, you know, they'll probably accuse me of trying to steal it out of the store or something. I'll say, I always wear this. I'm
Bob,
going to wear
is Nova a place close to you? Because Icking456 is asking you if you know of any gem shops there in Nova.
Yeah, Nova is our colloquial term for Northern Virginia. And that's what we all call it up here, Nova. And one of the gem shops, well, I don't know if it's still open. Somebody told me it might have closed. There's a wonderful one. In fact, I did a video on it. You can research it. And it's Old Town Gemstones. And it's down at the bottom of King Street on the right. That's a good stone. I would recommend Terra Christa as well. That's out in Falls Church, Virginia. Wonderful, wonderful store. Both of them are great, you know, local spots.
Absolutely.
So, and you know, and Lady Angela, what's the name of the gem store where you're near?
Colorado Crystal Company or something like that.
Yeah.
Colorado Crystal something. It's brand new and it's awesome.
Those are for people in Colorado, though. But in Nova, but yeah, but you know, I always say support your local merchants. So many people have started small businesses, and you know, I'd rather spend a little more. Sometimes you have to pay a little more, you know, but you're supporting a local person. I don't give my money just to Walmart. I just don't. I'd rather spend a little extra and go to a local merchant who's one of my community members and buy from.
Investigative journalist asks, Angela, is it hard to express your religion to people? You know, I don't throw it out there in their face. And usually the ones that are of a like mind, they ask you just the right question that gets me to open up a little bit. You know, like for instance, when I asked for Halloween off from work, you know, and they said, "Oh, to trick or treat," and I said, "Well, that's also a sacred day, you know, in my religion." And they're like, "Oh," you know, and but my boss is cool and was inquisitive, you know, so I expand a little bit that it's the witch's new year, you know, and it's a very sacred day to honor those that have gone and things that are to come. And just certain people, they sense it about you, you know, you attract your own kind. But you also have haters that come around, but you learn to feel them out and know who's what. And then you just kind of answer it carefully, and then soon enough you find your kind. And I've had a lot of luck with that. I've been blessed in that. But I'm also very careful. I'm not flaunting it and throwing it in their face either.
Yeah, one of the things I have to agree with you, ladies, and I think you said that perfectly, because you know, in the craft, we don't have the what's the word I'm saying tradition of proselytization. That's a hard word to say. Meaning, we don't go out and preach our religion to the world. Now, we love it so much. Sometimes we want to, but really, it's not part of our tradition. You know, I'm a pretty open witch these days. I walk around wearing a pentacle, and it's funny. A lot of people think it's a Jewish star, which I don't think they look alike, but people think it is. And sometimes they'll say, "Are you Jewish?" And I'll say, "No, I'm Wiccan." And I said, "Oh, that sounds interesting. What is that?" And then I'll share it if they're open. But I've also had the opposite of certain religious people, certain Christian groups, I'll be honest, come up to me and they'll say, "You're wearing the sign of the devil." And I'll say, "Really?" And then what I usually do is I have a conversation. I'll say, "Who made the universe?" And they say, "God." I said, "Did God make the trees?" "Yes." And if we're in a park, I'll pick up a maple leaf because we have a lot of maple trees here. And if you've ever looked at maple leaf, it's a sign of a pentagram. It's a 5-pointed leaf. And I'll
Mm-hmm.
say, "God hates my symbol I'm wearing." And they say, "Yes, that's demonic." I'll say, "Well, who made those trees?" And, "Well, God." And I hold up a leaf and I'll say, "Did he make this leaf?" And it's a pentagram. And I hold it up next to my pinnacle and they look so alike. Or I'll say, "Do you ever gone to the beach?" And they'll say, "Oh, yes." "You like the beach?" "Yeah." "Who made the beach?" "God." I said, "Did God make all the fish in the sea?" "Yes." I said, "Even the starfish?" "God made the starfish."
That's so clever.
God hates the star, but he made starfish and maple leaves. The sign
That's
is
so
demonic.
clever.
Mhm. Anyway, so yeah, I share it when it's necessary. And, you know,
Right.
it's like the angel, we don't put it in our face. We don't walk around big signs of, "I'm a Wiccan, you're not, get out of here." We
Right.
don't.
And the biggest thing is like when they just are just honestly asking, you know, "Well, what is your religion if you're not Christian?" I'll say, "Well, I'm Wiccan." They say, "Well, what does that mean?" And I'll say, "Well, I worship a mother and a father God. You know, I don't believe that God is a solo parent. You know, I honor the mother and the father. You know, my creator is in both, you know." And they're like, "Oh," and it sends them away thinking, but they just might come back and ask me some more questions. And if they do, I answer them open-mindedly and delicately as well. But yeah.
Well, you know, I think, Angela, you said it so perfectly. And, you know, it's really true that, you know, one of the things that I would say to many people here that are practicing Wicca is remember, you might be the only Wiccan somebody ever encounters. And so you
Right.
want to represent our tradition well. You know, be honest, be kind. If people don't accept it, that's all right. That's not everybody's path, you know.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Or that you're glorified tree
Investigative
huggers.
journalists, investigative journalists just said that they love you, Angela. They said, "Oh,
Ah, thank you. Another quick answer is that we're glorified tree huggers. Yeah, that's another good one too.
uh, Belinda S. just asked, what do you feel about stones over centuries, also called witch stones?
Oh boy.
Tell me about that. You know all about the witch stone.
Oh, I love hag stones or hold stones. I have one in my room. I wear it when I'm super sick. It's a stone that has a naturally bore hole through it. And it has a lot of different properties. One of the main properties is as a healing amulet and a protective amulet. And it could also be looked through, like to look into other dimensions, much like a planchette for a Ouija board, you know, how it has like an eye. But you can string it and wear it. You can hang it. I used to have a large one I hung over my doorstop. Boy, my ex-husband hated that because he was like 6'4", and I had this giant rock hanging. He would walk in the doorway, and here's this big rock hanging from a rope right there. Now, I'm short. I'm only 5'2". There was no chance of me running it to it, but oh, he cussed me because he would run into that dang rock. Maybe he was trying to run him off. I don't know. It must have worked. But of course, when I had a child, I didn't hang the heavy rocks from the roof. But I did when I had that ex-husband. But anyhow.
Well, there you go. My
I
God.
love them. And I'm always got my eyes on the ground looking for hold stones or hag rocks.
Real Simple Earth Jada said that she's found several of them in Florida where she lives. Now, that's wonderful.
That's powerful.
Don't tell Lady Angela, she'll be on the next flight there digging in your back.
Right. I'll be wheeling and dealing for them.
Tina Bailey said that she had 2 hag stones, and she's got one for her birthday years ago, and she didn't realize the value of it.
Oh, nice. They're very nice.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
I have a few spell pages at Rare Wicca Spells that deal with their healing rituals using hag stones or hold stones.
Oh, I'm going to have to see those.
Mm-hmm. Icking456 says, is there a simple way to make a hole through a quartz crystal? Quartz crystals are tough to put holes through. But when I'm like engraving on just stones in general, some are harder to engrave than others. I don't have good luck with quartz crystals. They shatter if I put a Dremel to them. But if you use a Dremel that has a diamond bit, you know, it's encrusted with diamonds and it will cut through stones and glass and stuff. But I would always recommend wear goggles. That's what I do. I'll wear goggles or sunglasses that I can push up real close to my eyes because the slivers of rock will blind you. Yeah. But diamond tip bits, you could try that. And good luck doing it to quartz.
Mimi, I just lost your thing here. Excuse me, Kimmy D wrote that they were raised a Christian. And when they were raised a Christian, they said that the pentagram, they were taught that the pentagram was bad. So they want to know if the Wiccan pentagram is different than the pentagram they were taught about in church.
Mm.
The pentagram is the 5-pointed star. Now, behind me here, you can see on my wall, I have pentacles. Pentacle is just the pentagram inside a circle, but it's the same thing. And the one that you were taught was bad. I'd be interested to hear what they told you about it, because our definition is that this symbol that we wear represents earth, air, fire, and water, and the top point is spirit. And then this circle around it is like a shield of protection, or it represents the cycle of life in the cosmos. So all things are bound together by divine power. That's our definition. Do you think that's a fair definition, Lady Angela?
I think very much so. It's a very positive symbol. You know, when I was first learning witchcraft and Wicca and exploring and stepping away from the Christian faith because it just left me lacking. I knew there was more. But I had at first I had trouble embracing the name, calling myself a witch. I had trouble with that for many years until I finally got past that. And also with the pentacle symbol, there was a long time I didn't connect with it. And then finally you realize it's a positive symbol. You know, I always pictured when the pentagram itself, if you're standing on a mountain's edge and you're going to speak to your creator, you're going to talk to God, and you're standing there with your arms raised up, your legs firmly on the ground, and you're speaking to God, you're a star. You're a star standing there with all your limbs pointing out. And that circle around you is that loving light, that energy that you're sending out. You're then a pentacle. You know, it's just right.
Wow, you gave me such an image. Ooh, I got chills.
And that's what helped me to embrace the symbol, was that imagery.
Oh, I literally have chills, Angela. I never heard you say that. Oh my God.
Yep. Well, that's how I explain it to people on the street when they say, well, isn't that symbol bad? And so I explain it to that way. Picture yourself on the mountain's edge. You're praying. You're talking to God, and you're emotional, and you're out there with arms raised, feet planted, looking up. You're a star. You're a pentagram. And what you're sending out, and it's a halo around you of love and light and blessing and connection. Right there's your sacred space surrounding you. That's the circle. You're a pentacle.
Oh my God, that is so bad. I had never heard that. I love that.
Christine C asks, is it all right to keep your crystals all in one bowl? or will the different energies of the different types of crystals cause energetic havoc? Good
Mm.
question.
You do a lot of opinion.
You know, I sort them by feeling and theme to me. Like in my bathroom, I have the ledge. You know how we all have the mirror, then there's like a messy cabinet thingy. I keep my blue ones there and some of my selenite there and just different angelic looking ones there. My new one, this one here, I have them kind of by theme. I don't, some of them, my polished and tumble stones, I keep in little bowls, sorted like my rose quartz in one, and maybe green and yellow stones together in one, just kind of by color or theme. A lot of my labradorites I keep by my computer up here. My shungite I keep on my computer. Whoops, and drop it on it sometimes. But I keep them sorted that way. If it feels like there's negative energy, separate them. I don't put my black tourmaline hunks with these other ones. It's by itself because it's so strong and of a drawing energy. So, but it's your craft, and the more that you put into it, if you feel it's okay to have them there, it's okay. You know, you're thinking of it, and if you feel like these ones should be separated and in different spots, that's more of you going into your craft, and it's going to make it that much more of a zing.
I tend to store my crystals by type. Like I put my quartz in one area and I put my agates in another area, and that's how I do it because I resonate to the energy of each crystal. So I don't know.
William Hill Darkhill asks, where can you find a hagstone? You can look on my website. I might have some left at Rare Wicca Spells. There may be some there. I think I do still have some, but you can find them online. I always find it's best to find them yourself, but if you can't, you could always buy them. That's fine. Witchy Jim says people keep calling him a warlock instead of a witch.
Yeah, that's because of our culture. Hollywood has said all males that practice magic are warlocks and all females are witches, but not really. In the craft in Wicca that we study, men are witches as well. I identify as a witch. I don't call myself a warlock.
Now, don't warlocks, the actual meaning of warlock, tie more closely, kind of like with alchemist? You know, they practice like you define it really well, Bob.
Well, let me tell you, I believe that the word warlock, from what I understand, actually comes from the Scottish word, which means a breaker of oaths. So a warlock is actually a male practitioner witch who has broken oath to his covenant.
A bad one. A bad one.
A bad one. Gotcha. So it's not a title of honor; it's a title of shame.
Gotcha.
I identify as a witch. And
Lord,
then the whole thing like Harry Potter, where we got witches and wizards. People say, "Well, aren't you a wizard then?" I said, "No, we're a witch because wizard is a ceremonial practitioner. I think that's what you call wizard. That's more formal ritual. That's alchemy. That's transmutation of metals. But the witch comes from the common. Our magic is what we call low magic, and it's not low in the sense it's bad. It means it's not ornate. We work with simple rocks and stones. And we accomplish as much stuff with those people spend $10,000 buying gold sensors and the most exotic items. We work with simple everyday stuff.
Right. Lord Tony has a question, Bob.
Yeah.
He has any ideas on how to cross his spirit to the light? He has an angry, frustrated spirit there asking him to help.
Well, the question is, does that spirit want to go? Because any spirit that wants to cross, the door will open. And what you need to do is ask the spirit world to help show you where the door is. You'll get a real sense, like you'll walk through your house or a certain room, and you'll say, you know what, I feel the spirit portal. It's over in that one corner. So then you direct that spirit, say, over in that corner is the spirit portal, and you tell it to go. And it'll be there, But I find that a lot of times, especially if a spirit's angry, they may say stuff, but they're not really committed to it. So be careful that they don't drain energy from you and try to play a game with you, But if they really want to go, they'll get over and call in their guardian angel, call in Archangel Michael.
Yeti Heart has been asked a personal question, but I believe that they're in an abusive family. They're trying to find a relationship to get out of that or some kind of advice on that. My heart goes out to them because I think they're in danger. That's why I've kind of mentioned it to you, even though we don't do personal questions on this, episode. But They might be in danger. I don't know if you have a second to look at that.
Well, let me tell you, first of all, there's a saying I always say, and it's so true. If you're surrounded by people that are abusive to you, whether emotionally and or physically, you don't have to take that. You can love them at a distance. See, the problem is, especially when it's family that are abusive, sometimes you'll say, well, I have to stay. It's my mom or it's my dad or it's my brother or my cousin. No, they might be family, but if they're being bad, you don't have to take that. So I would say get out. Physically remove yourself if you must, depending on what type of abuse is. If you feel you're in danger, you have the right to protect yourself. Not only the right, you have the duty. Wiccan Reed says, harm none, do as you will. And that none also includes yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You have to honor yourself by saying, no, I won't receive that. And if somebody's threatening you, there are legal ways. Magic is one way to protect ourselves, but magic has to be worked in tandem with practical steps. We can do a ritual to protect you as witches. We can put light around you, but you also have to say, okay, I'm going to get out of the environment. I'm going to pack my bags. And that light we put around you will shield you so they can't follow you. But if you stay in that house, all of our light, though it may protect you and hold you off for a little while till you do your part, it's not going to work. So love them at a distance. Don't stay. You're not obligated. And if you say, well, I don't have the money to go, right? There's a million and one reasons why you might not be able to go. But it comes down to what is valuable. Do you honor the read? And if you want to practice Wicca spirituality, you've got to take the bold step to say, I will exit the situation.
Absolutely. And I think that person's thinking that their way out is to find a relationship or a soulmate. And no, a lot of times I came from a family household that was like that too. Growing up into my early 20s, I was in a close, that's why I left that state, was to get away from it. You have to make a choice, but you have to make the choice for yourself. You can't find somebody to come and save you. You have to first be able to save yourself. You have to be the person that person wants to find. You have to be that person that's a Mrs. or Mr. Right for the other person, and then they'll start to come around. But you have to save yourself in situations like that. And it's hard. It's not easy. But I tell you, once you take that leap, things start falling into place right away. That's just how spirit works.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. So I pray for you, and we'll send healing energy to you, but be actively working to remove yourself.
Yep. Even if it's in a dramatic way, like leaving a state and like fleeing, sometimes that's what it takes, is a big, bold move like that, a catastrophic change in order for you to improve. Armani asked a great question, Bob. What's a way to get along with spirits, and what if he bumps into a bad one?
Well, the thing is, in the spiritualist church, we used to have a saying, like attracts like. So if you're operating out of your higher self when you're doing spiritual work, you're not going to draw bad spirits. You'll only draw good spirits.
That's good. Now, what if they were to bump into a bad one? What's a good way to quickly close that connection or whatever?
Yeah. Well, one of the things is I would say always, wear a protective amulet. And remember, you control the power of the light. I sometimes will walk down the street, and it'll be nighttime and I'll run into somebody scary on the street, like a gang person. I instantly surround myself with a bubble of white light. I psychically project that because our minds have the power to bring energy into the play. And then I visualize flaming white pinnacles, the brightest pinnacles, so bright it blinds you like halogen light, white pinnacles on all sides of me. And it's really interesting because I've had people come up to me like they wanted to rob me. When I do that, suddenly they freeze and they'll just go a different path. They feel it. See, that energy is protected. So that's
a way of shielding too, ain't it?
Mm-hmm. It shields you and it pushes back negativity. And that works with earth people as well as spirits.
Absolutely. That's great advice, Bob. Raven Fisher asks, since you addressed the regular pentacle on Pentagram, can you address the upside down pentacle? Is it really bad? They've even heard Wiccans say that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm of the mind, and, I'm going to say it because I don't care if I offend anybody. I believe the Satanists stole our sacred symbol and abused it. Now, in the Wiccan community, for a while, there was a thing that the Wiccans and the Satanists should be friends and ally themselves as pagans. I think I don't find anything positive in Satanism. So right now I'm going to stay out the back. They abused our symbol. I believe that the upside down pentagram, in fact, you'll see I have some here because these are like rotating pinnacle. Here's an upside down pinnacle. I believe that if you research the history of Wicca, that was used in many Wiccan covens as the sign of the second degree. In old Wicca, there were 3 degrees. First degree was initiate, second degree was high priest, and third degree was high priest with the ability to start a coven. And when you became a second degree, you got this because during the traditional training of the second year, it was about focusing, about bringing spirit down into flesh. And it was about exploring the connection between the body and spirit. Many covens taught a degree program, and that was a big focus. And so this upward means like spirit descending into matter, coming into the material world. And during that training, you would do a lot of experiments to understand how the material world and the spiritual world interrelate. So I don't find the upside down pentagram to be evil, but I believe that Hollywood, as well as the Satanists, have so dominated this symbol that it unfortunately doesn't translate in the light that it should be.
Which makes sense because what I have heard of the difference between the two is in our version with the point at the top, it represents spirit over matter. Where when it's reversed, a lot of the Satanists, they believe that matter or us in body is over spirit. Like afterwards, there's nothing there, so that they're the dominant. And so they reverse it as matter over spirit, which goes right along with what Bob has said as well.
Yeah, but the difference is, Lady Angela, when we use it, it's not about matter dominating spirit.
Right.
It's about spirit coming into matter, merging with it.
Gotcha.
That's the difference. We still believe the spirit is predominant, but this shows the symbol, this shows the action of the spirit at that
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Right.
Hope that makes sense.
It does. Holy cow, Bob, where'd the time go?
You got to be kidding me, Lady Angela. Let me check the clock. Lord Tony, you know Lord Tony's in that chat room with that titanium rod in hand, bending the time. Oh, Lord Tony, he takes all the flack from me. Oh my gosh, it is. Well, I tell you guys, isn't it amazing? People say to me, you know, when I do readings, people always say, my God, Bob, I can't believe an hour flew by because my private readings are an hour. And I always say, and it's true, I say every reading feels like 5 minutes. And I feel like when we do the show, we have such a good time. It flies by. It's like every hour of the witching hour feels like a 5-minute session, you know. Maybe we'll start calling it the Witching 5 Minutes show. But I'm so glad you guys are here tonight. We always have a good time. Thank you for your questions. You know, I know some of them we didn't get in. That the chat tends to fly quickly, and we get what we can. But I appreciate y'all being here. And if you didn't get your question answered, come back next week. We'll have it. You know. But I want to tell you, thank you. Thank you for being here. I look forward to this every week. It's so much fun to gather with the tribes. And I welcome you for being here. And I welcome you every week, you know. And, you know, listen, you get some time. You need to go over to Lady Angela's site, rarewiccaspells.com. She's got everything over there. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your site, Lady Angela?
Oh, yes. At rarewiccaspells.com, I have everything. I have jewelry, I have trinkets, I have rocks and crystals, tarot cards, runes, spell pages, spell books, how-to books, psychic development books, dream interpretation books, loads of different books on there, just all sorts of stuff. There's bags, crystals, incense, there's herbs, all sorts of stuff. It's worth a peek. And don't forget on every order to use coupon code Spirit Channel to save 10%. And I have been seeing a lot of you guys visiting over there and purchasing certain little treasures and using the coupon code. So I got to give a shout out to everybody. And also, guys, it's officially October after today. The veil is thin, and what better way to treat yourself than with a psychic reading from Psychic Bob? They are amazing. It's a whole hour, one-on-one, you and him, and he goes over everything. Why not get your witch on and get yourself a psychic reading with Bob? He's awesome.
Thank you. Well, I would love to. Oops, I'm getting feedback. To sit with all of you. And now I have a new phone number, so don't forget, write this down. Keep it on put it in your cell phone, because you never know, you might need to call Psychic Bob and get on the schedule. 703-825-3929. And if you can't reach me by phone, send me an email. Readings@robert-hickman.com. That'll be in the box below. But I want to thank you guys for being here. We love you. Make sure to be here tomorrow because we got a special treat. What's going on tomorrow on Spirit Channel, lady?
Horoscopes.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to take a look at what's going in the star. You like my hat, Lady Angela? This has got stars all over it.
I love it.
I love
it's popping. It's blinging.
I'm blinging. I be blinging and flinging in my star cap. And you know, I get my witch groove on. Ooh, girl. You know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But seriously, guys, be here tomorrow. We're going to have horoscopes. And you know, if you haven't been following this weekend, we had a great Saturday. Yesterday we did our spiritualist class, and we had a seance. So you want to see that. And you know, we have a lot going on here. Lady Angela's got a lot going on over at her shop. She's always posted new supplies. We even have a Psychic Bob section over there. So if you want to know about what I'm into, go over to her shop and you read the Psychic Bob section.
There's even Psychic Bob spells. He has a whole series of spells over there. It's in a category of its own. It's called Psychic Bob's Favorites. So go over there and check it out. Get some of Bob's spell pages.
There
Lots
you
of stuff
go.
going on.
I've written a number of spells there, and you can get either one or the whole collection of them.
Right.
But we're here. We want you guys to remember this. We are all a family. We're all a team. We support each other. So, you know, we want to be here to be a presence for you, and we want you to be in our lives to be a presence for us. So let's all support each other. Let's shop at each other's stores. Let's all love and support each other and encourage each other. Because, you know, the Wiccan read, it says, and it harm none, do as ye will. And doing as ye will means living in love and living in the light. And that's the joy of our faith. So don't let anybody scare you or intimidate you and tell you that what we do is evil. All things in love in the craft. If you're really a witch, you'll be a person and people say, oh, the person, they helped me so much in my life. See,
Yep.
and that's what we all want to strive towards. So live in the light, live in love, and love the craft, and love your fellow Wiccan and your fellow neighbor. Love everybody.
Yep.
You'll by your light, people will know you, you know. And I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for being here tonight. I got it. Where's my bell? Oh, here it is. We've come to the end of the witching hour. Lady Angela, you want to say one more good night?
Good night, everybody. Can't wait for next week's show. Check out Bob's website, psychicbob.com, and take a peek at mine too, rarewiccaspells.com. And can't wait for next week's show.
Yay. Well, Lady Angela said it perfectly. So with that, we bid you a good night, and may each of you blessed, so mote it be.